Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AU Pulse series on digital marketing through a webinar channel. My name is Lael Sammy. I am an assistant professor of digital marketing at Aurora University. I teach in the Masters of Science in Digital Marketing and Analytics program at AU. Today, we'll be talking about how to cultivate customer loyalty. This webinar that I'll be giving you today will be based off of a lecture that I give in my customer experience marketing class in that MS in digital marketing. This is just one snippet of one of the many classes that we have, and we are providing you a little bit of information about what goes on in the classes. So without further ado, I will share my screen and we will begin. So we're going to start off with the basic question of what is customer loyalty? We hear about it all the time today. It's really the new buzzword that's being thrown around in marketing. And it's important to really understand what is customer loyalty, where does it fall with it, customers, what part of the customer life cycle does this fall into, and why is it so important? Why is it so important and imperative today to have loyal customers? And as we talked in our last webinar, when we talked about the history of marketing, we found that in today's society, it is so much more important to have loyal customers that are advocating for your brand. And it's so much more possible to have loyal customers and for people to really hear about what good brands are versus who the bad brands are. So a definition that I put together based on a number of other definitions that I think really captures the essence of what customer loyalty is a customer's positive emotional experience. So it really talks about the experience with the brand, resulting to attitudinal and behavioral satisfaction. So then your behaviors and attitude is satisfied because of the positive experience that leads to continuously favoring one brand over another. And that's really one of the most important factors of customer loyalty, which we'll get into, is really favoring one brand over another and continuously going back to that brand when you want to make a purchase, either through a service or a product. And it really cuts down the need for spending lots of dollars on marketing because you have that retention and you have the repeat customers. So one really big idea is the best way to create customer loyalty is to really have some type of customer experience marketing plan. The customer experience marketing plan really dives into understanding what it is the customer wants, what it is the customer needs, and creating the best experience possible for the customer to then eventually turn into a loyal customer. If a customer doesn't have a good experience with the brand, the switching cost is high, and it's very possible for the customer to go and switch to another brand if they don't have a good experience with your brand. So it's important to have that exceptional experience and really create that emotional connection with your customer to create customer loyalty. So when we talk about customer loyalty, what's interesting is years ago when we talked about the customer lifecycle journey, it was found that the customer lifecycle journey really was a linear approach. You had the point that you realize you need a product, then you realize you start researching the product, you select, purchase, etc. You go through all of this, but then it stopped once you got to the use phase. Now today, because of social media and because of digital marketing, what's happened is that this customer lifecycle journey doesn't just stop at the use phase. Today, you need to maintain that relationship, which is probably, in my eyes, one of the most important parts of the customer lifecycle journey. Why is this? Because if you're maintaining the relationship, then you're able to really create that loyal customer. And as a result, once the relationship is maintained and you create a loyal customer, the customer starts recommending your product. They start recommending your service. They tell people how great of a product and service you have, and they're advocating for you. That's free word of mouth marketing. And we notice this a lot. I mean, if you think about products that you absolutely love or products that you absolutely hate, products that you had a great experience with, you're more likely at the end of the day to recommend those products and tell people, you know, this is what I have and it's great. And it's sometimes solicited advice and sometimes it's unsolicited advice, but constantly you are recommending with products that you had good emotional experiences with, that you had a positive emotional experience with, to people, because you want others to have that positive emotional experience as well. So again, this customer lifecycle journey has really changed, and that is one of the real reasons that customer loyalty has become so prevalent today, because it's so much easier to create a loyal customer instead of just finding new customers. So a great example is Share a Coke. Last year, Coke did this amazing campaign where they put names of people on their Coke bottles and Coke cans, and they put terms of endearment and family names and terms like best friend and soulmate and all of these fun terms. And as a result, what people were doing was they were buying more Coke. And what happened was people would take pictures, post a picture of their name or post a picture of someone else's name, and really spread the word for Coke about their products. Now, there's always that competition between Coke and Pepsi, but Coke really dominated the internet last year. They dominated marketing because that's what people were doing. They were sharing their positive experience with other people around them. So again, it's creating that loyal customer to come back for more and help spread the word. So customer loyalty doesn't just end at repeat customers, but it also adds into the advocacy of the brand. Goes to my next slide. So again, customer loyalty really has the three factors associated to it. You have the retention, so you have the repeat customer, you have purchasing, the customer comes back to you and constantly purchases and really has a great experience with your purchase, and then they advocate for your brand, and that's what's really important. So it's one factor that a lot of companies sometimes forget to include within their marketing is a channel to help advocate for your brand, or trying to think of marketing campaigns to really help advocate for your brand, to help spread the word. Make it easier for your customers to help spread the word. So again, it's easier to cultivate loyal customers than to gain new customers. And that's because when you have loyal customers, they're spreading the word about your brand. They're advocating for you. Gaining new customers is difficult because then you need to spend more marketing dollars. Whereas keeping a customer, creating a relationship with the customer is really a lot more fruitful in the experience, because then not only are you keeping that one customer, but they're helping you gain new customers. So it's like it's a spider web if you think about it. Once you have one customer, they spread the word, you have loyalty from them, they spread the word, and then you get their friends, etc., and it just keeps spreading. Whereas gaining one new customer is so difficult, because gaining that one customer usually is pretty pricey, whereas keeping one customer is a lot easier. So cultivating loyal customers. Now this is where we come into some difficulty, because how do you do this? How do you really gain new or create loyal customers? And gaining loyal customers is important, but one problem that arises are perceived barriers from C-level suite employees. Now, one way to really gain customer loyalty and to understand how to create the best experience for your customer to create the positive emotional experience is to ask questions, to create channels of communication so you can learn what your customers like about your brand and what your customers don't like about your brand. And that is the best way to create the experience for your customer to then in turn create customer loyalty. And so what happens, what is one of the biggest hangups that you get to is that the C-level suite says to you, I don't think we want to really know about what our customers are thinking about us, because they're scared to know at times. They're nervous. But if you have a quality product and service, or even if you don't have a quality product and service, you can learn about what it is that your customers don't like or what it is that they do like. And so what do the C-level suite normally say? This is from a study that came out a year or two ago. They say it's hopeless, it won't do any good, it's too much of a hassle. We don't want the conflict and retribution are feared, and then they don't really have a preferred communication channel. It's not out there. So we're going to talk about how to remedy this and why these are so important. So misconception one is hopeless and will do no good. Well, in a recent study that came out called the Consumer Rage Survey, in the survey, they found that 56% of complaints felt that they actually got nothing as a result of complaining, while those who reported getting something felt that they got a little bit. So even just looking and saying, giving some type of monetary remedy, saying, giving some type of discount or providing, a gift card to the customer to try your product or service again, and apologizing, increased satisfaction from 37 to 74%. It almost doubled. The satisfaction rate almost doubled just by apologizing and giving some type of monetary compensation. So the monetary compensation didn't even come first. It was the actual apology. So just really apologizing, saying, we're really sorry for the problems we caused. We hope we can help you in the future. Tell us how we can help. That always helps, because people want to know that you actually care. That's how you're going to create loyal customers. I'll give you an example from my own life. I had a really bad experience with a restaurant. They were new. I'm in marketing. So I wrote to them. I told them my problem, what happened with the situation, and what happened. This restaurant actually sent me $100 gift card, and our value of our food that we ordered was not $100. They gave us a $100 gift card, and as a result, I went back and became a loyal customer. I would go to that restaurant anytime I'd go out to eat, and I'd bring all my friends. So right there, I became a loyal customer just because they apologized and they gave me some type of monetary compensation. Now, $100, that's a little excessive. A meal would have been just as good, but now I'm telling you about the story. So how do you remedy this? So again, apologize, know where problems usually are encountered, and communicate messages to help. So be proactive, create a survey, ask people where are the problems, or if you hear complaints, write them down, note them, and try to actually change those issues that occur. Also, you'll see this a lot. Put your contact info for helping on all marketing material. Have questions, contact us, as JetBlue does. There's a help button, there's a contact us button right on the front page, right on the top fold of the actual website. And you can see it's right there. It's right for you it's right in your eyesight instead of hidden somewhere, because JetBlue really wants to know what are your problems. And this is why JetBlue is one of the, a really great brand today on the internet. So misconception two, it's too much of a hassle. And so what happens with this? So in the Rage Survey, again, the Consumer Rage Survey in 2013, people thought that the standard of customer care during the past year was excellent, only 13%, acceptable, 47%, less than acceptable, 6%, and then awful, 4%. What's interesting is the acceptable part. People think it's acceptable. You don't need excellent customers. Let me say that again. You should have excellent customer service, especially in this day and age. But you can see that even with just a little bit extra attention to your customer service to get to that excellent will really create loyal customers. Having the acceptable is good, but it's important to really outshine your competitors by having excellent customer service. And why is this? Because household income, a household, people spending money, it's $76 billion are at risk. People are spending this much money every year. And if you have a problem with products and services, this could definitely cause problems with your brand image, with your customer loyalty, because it's important to, again, create that cycle of advocacy. And you can lose your revenue if you don't have good customer service. And so most of the time what happens is the dissatisfaction comes with how people are handling the complaints. If you have a good system, a good operational strategy for how to handle dissatisfied customers, then that will help you create loyal customers again. So how do you remedy this? Again, make complaining easy. Ask people for their opinions. Create surveys, customer satisfaction surveys. When you have people call you to learn on your the contact us form, you give people a telephone number to contact you if they have problems. Don't have them wait. If they send you an email, respond in 24 hours. All of these different methods will help you create more satisfied customers. Also, another important factor, which is an underlying factor for all of this idea of customer loyalty, is creating a positive employee culture. It's important to create a positive employee culture because the employees, the frontline employees, are usually the ones that are getting the complaints. And you don't want to have people on the front line being negative, because that's, at the same time, that is what's going to cause negative reactions to the way that your complaints are handled. Misconception 3, conflict and retribution are feared. Interestingly, again, in the consumer rage survey, complete satisfaction they found was strongly correlated with increased brand loyalty. So as much as you fear the conflict, you fear what is negative about your brand or service, by fixing those problems, by learning about what the problems are and resolving the problems, it increases brand loyalty, because now the consumer has an emotional connection with your brand. They were angry about something at first, and then you were able to solve their problems. So it's important, again, to understand the connection between complaint satisfaction and brand loyalty, which has a strong correlation. So what was found again in the survey, about 60% of complainants made 3 or more contacts to resolve a problem. That's way too much, whereas only 21% of complainants had their problems resolved on first contact. 3 or 4 times it's a lot to try to figure out. I mean, how many times, again, think about yourself. You're on the phone, you're trying to get something figured out. You have to go jump through hoops, and you're doing tricks to try to figure out, how can I really get my complaint solved? And it can be something simple. If you figure out how do you remedy this, you learn what the problems are. You ask your frontline employees, you ask your customer service representatives, and then you actually develop a comprehensive system to note the problems, determine the methods to resolve the problems, and then solve the problems early, and even have a frequently asked questions section on your website. That is going to solve a lot of problems. And you don't want people to get to the 3rd or 4th moment to contact your brand or your business, because by that point, the 4th time, the 3rd time, people are pretty upset, and you've lost them. After the 1st or 2nd time, you've lost that customer loyalty. Maybe you haven't lost the customer, but you've lost the ability to create that customer into a loyal customer. Misconception 4, a preferred communication channel is lacking. So again, what's interesting is a lot of people think the internet is really the most important place to learn about your customers through complainings. So, when people have a negative experience, most people think the internet is where people go. Well, it's not. 66% of people went to the telephone. When people are angry, they don't want to write an email. People want to call on the telephone and actually talk to someone, because what most people think is that the internet isn't going to get them very far. So how do you remedy this? You encourage complaints. Again, train your customer service representatives on the phone. Happy employees equals happy customers. Make phone number easily accessible. Listen to your customer. And then the most important factor is find the best channel for your customer. If your customer is on the phone, then train your customer service representatives to be able to take calls instead of sending everyone through email. There's nothing more frustrating than to not be able to find a contact number to complain about something, number one, and number two, it not be a channel that you're used to. So find where people are actually complaining and use that channel. It's more efficient. It saves you time. It saves you operational costs as well. So I'll just give you an example. Buffer app is an app that is a social media analytics application, but they also were curating content. And so recently they made a decision that they weren't going to do content creation anymore, and they're ending it August 1st. Now this for me is devastating. I use the Buffer app content creation constantly. So I found out about it. I'll show you through this message they wrote, important message. They put it up on their site. And so what I did is I went right to social media, because they're a social media application. So I thought that's where I should go to. And I tweeted to them. And what did they do? They tweeted back and said, "We are sorry to let you down, Layla. If I can answer any questions about the decision, please let me know." I just, wrote back something like, "Why?" And then they wrote, "Here's a more in-depth answer." So they knew where to go. They were prepared for this. They knew they were going to have problems. So they went to the channels they knew that they would have the most complaints on. No one's going to call Buffer and ask them. No one's going to email Buffer. But what they'll do instead is they'll go to social media. And so it's important to understand that knowing what channels to go to, and really knowing and being proactive prior to the problem occurring, and to have some type of operational understanding and is so important. They knew what they were going to say. They knew how to handle the situation. So what you want to do is you want to, at the end of the day, battle your customers' misinformation. Try to figure it out. Try to, understand what it is what they're misinformed. What is it that your customers do not understand? And then as a result, it encourage valuable contact from the customer. So those are that's really important. If someone has a complaint, battle it, try to figure out what it is, and really encourage people to give you the any type of feedback about your brand, positive or negative. So I'm going to go through these really quickly. I know we don't have a ton of time, but to help keep everything in order, how do you capture the data? Where do you capture this data from? CRM systems are really good, but they lack a couple of things. They miss, the customer experience with operations. They don't provide detailed information. They just it's a very general, quantitative way to capture data. And then the quality reporting isn't as great as it could be. So other ways to integrate the information from the CRM tools would be to get email and chat capabilities. Again, if that's a channel that is important for your brand, but even if it's not important, capture that data, understand the data, read what people say, and really code the information to understand what the complaints are. Website information, put out as I said earlier, the question and answer section, find the 5 most prevalent questions and put those out there. Include all the different types of communication on all your pages. Don't just limit it to the first page of your website. Put it on all your pages and highlight the important contact information. Social media, listen to what people are saying on social media. They are giving you unsolicited advice all the time. Learn from it. Learn what are the pain points of your customers. You could also do interactive voice response, some type of automated call, allow people to enter their information while they're waiting and make that streamlined. There's nothing more frustrating than when you give your information 7 times to someone over the phone. And then link all the info so you don't have to keep asking. And recently what I've seen being done as well is, our wait times are 5 to 10 minutes. Please put in your phone number and we'll call you back. And that's really helpful too, and you don't lose your place in line. Video, IKEA does this. They do video snippets of how-tos and problems that they found within their products to really help people create their furniture specifically for IKEA. But you can do this with anything. 1-minute videos. Google does this as well. Provide free content, right? Visual content. People need to see sometimes, not just read. And you can see again on IKEA, they actually for their chat capabilities they named someone Anna. So they say Ask Anna. They have a frequently asked questions, need help with an IKEA purchase specifically, or send us an email. And they have all of these different ways that you can actually contact IKEA, not just one way. So it's important again to see the different ways to communicate with your customers. So all of this, as I mentioned, is from a master's level customer experience marketing class in the MS in Digital Marketing and Analytics at Aurora University. So I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis of our program in the next 3 minutes. So, why was this program created? There's a number of reasons, but what was happening was we were noticing that the world was going digital and that everything was moving to numbers. And it was important to have training in both. And there are very few programs out there that have a digital marketing and analytics focus with their master's programs. So we thought that it would be very important to have that skill set, especially moving forward. And why is this? 2016, for instance, the business intelligence software market will reach $17.1 billion. And in our programs, you learn how to use the business intelligence software. You learn how to use IBM Cognos. We're learning IBM Watson, so then we can implement IBM Watson in our classes. 2015, there were 4.4 million jobs in data and analytics. Only 1/3 was filled. And then finally, in 2018, the U.S. will experience a shortage of 190,000 skilled data analyst jobs. And this is just the analytics side of it, but we're not even talking about the digital marketing. And digital marketing really is the foundation to help. Digital really is the foundation of data analysis and capturing all the data. And you can see you capture data in many ways, not just strictly the internet, but how do you really take that data to make sense of it? So we teach in our programs big data, we turn it into smart data through statistical modeling, and which in turn helps you make marketing decisions. And that's really what the core of our programs is, to really take big data, take all the data points and turn it into smart data based on statistical models, and then to help you make marketing decisions. So our 3 key components of our program is we say we will teach you attribution analysis, and then you will in turn implement and have action in what you're doing. In all of our classes, we do service learning projects. So you are implementing what you find a business in the community, or we provide a business for you, and you actually create full-fledged programs, either creating the strategy, for instance, or implementing a strategy. So for our customer experience marketing class, for instance, because that's what we're talking about today, you create a customer experience marketing plan. In our marketing management metrics and analytics class, you implement an email marketing campaign. So, we really focus on having you create and implement different strategies in our classes. And why do we do this again? Because we want you to learn different data. We want you to explore, brand awareness. How do you create brand awareness through email, social media, search? You know, how do you investigate data mining techniques? What are data mining techniques? You know, we want you to analyze qualitative and quantitative data, and we want you to really create models to help influence purchasing for consumers. How do you influence purchasing? How do you create the most efficient method of marketing? What is the most efficient method of marketing to really attract customers? So our classes are broken up into three, again, components. Everything's in threes. We have the introductory classes. These are, for instance, digital marketing, quantitative research and analytics, and then social media. And then we have the digital marketing focus classes, customer experience marketing, advanced internet marketing, and marketing metrics management and analytics. And then we have analytics classes, and these are database marketing, data mining and visualization, and advanced analytics. So all of these classes come together, and we, you know, at the end of the day, you are really specialized in digital marketing and analytics. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you for being with me, and I will take any questions if anybody has any questions about the MSDMA or customer loyalty. Okay, well, if there are no questions, thank you so much for being with me. I look forward to speaking with you in the future. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. My email is lsamii@aurora.edu, or you can find me on social media at Really Layla, and I will be happy to answer any questions you have. Signing off until next time, I will talk to you soon.